a faceless repeating. And I can't remember what I was doing when it all came to an end, but I know that it was Sunday, 'cause we made love on the Saturday. And a credit card receipt shows that we were fine, and we drank sweet wine on the previous Monday. So in 1 week I threw it all away. And I can't remember what I was doing when it all came to an end, but I know that it was Sunday, 'cause we made love on the Saturday. And a credit card receipt shows that we were fine, and we drank sweet wine on the previous Monday. So in 1 week I threw it all away. Uh-oh, here I go again, another mess up. The story's never ending. It's my fault for thinking that I could change. There's no one to stand and defend me. There's no use in crying over milk that's spilling. I knew you were lying with stories you were spinning. You're the smoke and mirrors to keep me in a daydream, hiding in the flowers, bumblebee that's stinging. And I knew it was time to leave when you put the blame on me. I knew it was time to go, and so I took it all in my stride, and I held my head up high, 'cause I knew it was time to go. And I am telling you, don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Oh, I'm getting over you. Oh, I never wanted nothing that I couldn't conceive, realistically having. I never wanted to believe. And what's the point of romance and floating like a feather when you love a thunderstorm that you cannot weather? And I knew it was time to leave when you put the blame on me. I knew it was time to go, and so I took it all in my stride, and I held my head up back, so I knew it was time to go. And I'm telling you, don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you. Oh, I'm getting over you. Oh, I'm getting over you. Don't need no lover in my life. My life ain't gonna waste no time. Oh, I'm getting over you.
My name is Carla J. Easton.
and I am a singer-songwriter based in Glasgow. So I started making music and being in bands way back in 2006 when I was at Edinburgh College of Art. Started a band off the back of a video project, and we were called Futuristic Retro Champions. And we often got described as sounding like a happy hardcore version of Biss, which I quite enjoyed. So we did that for a few years, and then when I was doing my Masters of Fine Art at Glasgow School of Art, just at the end of that, I formed a band called Teen Canteen. So that was with 3 friends. We were an all-girl band, and pretty quickly we were doing live sessions for Six Music and loads of festivals and quite a lot of attention, and it was a bit daunting at the time because I very much think we were kind of learning as we went. So we released a debut album and an EP via the label Last Night from Glasgow, but simultaneously at the same time I started working on what would be my debut solo album, Homemade Lemonade, which came out on Olive Grove Records. And yeah, I've just sort of continued more with solo work. I guess when you're in a band, you're having to work out to everyone's schedules what you can do. Debbie wanted a break to start a family, and we didn't want to do the band without her. So yeah, I've released 3 solo albums now. Did Homemade Lemonade in 2016, and then did Impossible Stuff in 2018. That came out. That was really cool. I got to go to Canada and record that there with Howard Billerman producing. He was the original drummer in Arcade Fire and used a lot of strings and timpani on it and stuff, and that was shortlisted for the SAY Award. And then my next album after that was a sort of maximalist synth pop record called Weirdo, which came out in August 2020 during a year when you can't play a show. So that's been interesting. But yeah, I just kind of like, I'm a singer-songwriter. I consider myself a songwriter more than a singer. I've always been told my voice is like Marmite. You either like it or you hate it, but it's good to have a strong opinion, I guess. And yeah, I also play synths in the Vaselines now, which is cool because I first heard them when I was 14, and I remember writing in my journal like, I'm a teenage Jesus superstar, and making a copy of the CD on tape to take to my friend Debbie in high school. I remember telling Eugene that, and he was like, you're a loser. And I've co-written with Belle and Sebastian, sang a track with them, and written for BMX Bandits, and at the moment collaborating with Simon Liddell from Olympic Summers and Frightened Rabbit, which has been great. Wrote and recorded an album during a year when you couldn't even be in the same room as each other. So yeah, that's been good. I don't know, I just like writing and playing with people and meeting people and all the adventures you can go on just making music. I would love to, in the future, write a song for Kylie Minogue, because she is my idol. I've loved her since I was 4, and I'm not fickle with my love. So I remember when Charlene was leaving Neighbours and being completely distraught about it. I'd love to, in a dream scenario, meet Carol King and talk to her about songwriting and play her some tunes, and she'd play mine, and we'd become best friends forever. And yeah, with Teen Canteen, we met up last year, which was great because it was the first time I think we'd all been in a room together since 2017. Been a long time, and never say never. Like, we were all ready to go and record a song. I was like, I've written this song and it sounds like a Teen Canteen song. It doesn't sound like a Carla song, and we were all good to go. And then Debbie got pregnant again, so we had to isolate and stuff. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, we always said that we weren't ending. It was just that we were taking a break. And so this year, actually, an album is coming out that we recorded way back when we started in 2012. So it's our proper debut album. But at the time, we were always told it's not good enough, you can't play. I got told to sack the band, record the songs with session musicians, and then we'd audition new girls for the band. And I just said no, because that's not what we're about. So that is good that that's finally coming out now, and I think it's instigated good conversations between us of fond memories and sort of a want to maybe, do one more song together at least. Yeah, so for 5 years, I've been working on a documentary called Since Yesterday, The Unsung Pioneers of Scottish Pop. And the aim is to sort of provide a platform for Scotland's all-girl bands to tell their stories and share their music. The idea being that there's an accessible historical archive of women making music in Scotland, and the reason for doing that is when I formed Teen Canteen, very quickly we weren't a band, we were an all-girl band, and you get comments or things, it was like you dropped in from outer space and you were like a new concept. And myself as a record collector, and I used to DJ when I was at art school, I've always loved the girl group genres, and I wanted to find something closer to home, something more local, because it sort of like makes you feel like you belong, you're not weird, you're not different, there's like other people like you doing it, have done it. So you start and like end up in all these like weird blogs and fan forums, and you find out about bands like the Ets, who were the first all-girl band in Scotland in 79, maybe played like 10 gigs, had cardboard box drum kits and recorded a 4-track demo in one of their parents' front living room with a dog barking in the background, but you can't hear the music. And it's so frustrating as a music fan wanting to hear these music. Or the Twin Sets, who were like two sisters in the mid-80s, pure post-punk Edinburgh, just like bubblegum pop with this like hardcore attitude, playing to lifers in Sutton prison, and were so successful in touring, they had handbag roadies and stuff, but you can't find the 5 Peel sessions that they did. So I thought, right, okay, let's just go back and track them down and facilitate. We'll just provide a platform. It's their story and their words. So hopefully you encourage more women to pick up and play. I find it weird that in the music world, and these questions just arrive through doing the documentary, like how, like in the pop world, we can have arena, stadium filling acts like The Supremes, Destiny's Child, TLC, Spice Girls. But when it's like women actually as a collective picking up and playing, we don't have that. Like we had that for a brief point with the Bangles and Heart, but it's not careers of longevity. Like I want to know where the female equivalent is of the Beatles or the Stones or U2 or Coldplay. And speaking to all these women at a local level, whatever city they were working in, the support and the nurturing was there, and they weren't outsiders. But there seems to be some sort of stumbling block when it goes beyond your local vicinity and goes to the next level. There seems to have to be these compromises made. And you're just making a film because you want to, as a music fan, hear the music and meet the people behind it and talk about your first rehearsal or your first gig or stuff like that. But then all these questions start arising and make you aware of the inequality. And I mean, you don't really set out making music to become an activist, but it's hard not to sometimes. But it's been great. And, we start back in the 1960s with the McKinleys, who were Sheila and Jeanette, and they did the Beatles' first UK tour, played Wembley, had a couple of singles on Columba. they're just like so cool. And yeah, we put on an event to tie in with the documentary in 2018, and I can genuinely say it's the most fulfilling musical experience I've ever been part of. Like Jeanette getting up on stage at 77 with a Madonna high ponytail, a leather biker jacket, opening her mouth and singing a song she hadn't sang in 50 years and it being note perfect. And then people in the front row singing it, and she's like, Carla, how do they know that song? I'm like, because it's become a cult record and people want to know your story and they want to hear your record and find it more easily. So yeah, it takes a lot longer than writing and recording an album, and it takes a heck of a lot more money making a documentary. So patience, having no social life, and determination definitely helps. So I was involved in a National Theatre of Scotland production called Them that ran at Tramway for 2 weeks in 2019, and it was this sort of immersive audience participatory experience where you got taken through the space into a club, and then you ended up in an ant colony. There was a full ant colony. There was 1,000 ants as part of the cast. And it was my first time being asked to compose music for stage, which was great. I was so honoured to be asked because, I mean, I love musicals a lot. Like, one of my favourite films is Sweet Charity with Shirley MacLaine. It's so just colourful and vibrant. You want to just lick the screen when you're watching it. So it was challenging, but I guess the way I approached it was, well, one of the songs I had to write from the point of view of a mid-50s West Coast Tory voting man, which couldn't be more opposite from me. So you're trying to like find your into it, and how would they feel about certain things, and what would be the anger and stuff like that. But similarly, the song had to then be sung by another character who was an Australian female. So I guess it makes you sort of realise the sort of power of a song, and how, depending on who's singing it, it can take on a different meaning, and what that then translates for the listener and their personal experiences they bring to it. But I just loved it. It was hard work. It was brilliant playing with my band. We got to do some like experimental noise soundscapes using samples of ant noises as well. And yeah, I met some really great friends, and I don't know, it's like I entered 2020 thinking like, oh, I'd had this great theatre experience. I got nominated for, I think it was the Critics' Choice for Best Sound in Music. Me and Fiona Johnson, she'd been the sound designer. And you're all pumped and excited about new opportunities, and then the world ends and you're like, okay, I just had that brief flash in a pan theatrical career there for a moment. But I don't know, I guess it's good to be open to trying new things with music, because the only person really setting limits is yourself, you know. And I'd never done that before, but I mean, all you can do is try your best. Do you know what I mean? And I think being open to all these things, maybe it's because I went to art school, and, you know, my degree was in sculpture, but my final degree show was like video installation or ready-made objects and stuff. And I guess when you're at art school, you sort of like, you learn what your practice is in terms of coming up with an idea and seeing it come through in a final thing that you might not understand or know what that final thing is going to be at the time. And I guess maybe I approach music in the same way, hence why you end up doing, I mean, I've done like musical projects involving puppets and theatre shows with ant colonies, and God knows what's next.
Past my neighbor doesn't know me. That's the blessing, anonymity in a city built by industry. Skip the bus to smoke a cigarette in my neighborhood. It's only cheap rent when watch the kids play. No, they're alright. You do your best, but it's a hard life. Resilient, so we survive. It's a perfect cacophony. All your sirens with our poetry as the sun sets over our streets. Doesn't matter, smile knowingly, 'cause you made them and you made me. I had a dream that I was a dancer. I found a beat and I danced like the answer. A boy said to me he would inspire, so I danced away, 'cause I don't like liars. Hey little sister, good God, I missed you, looking back at me when I look in the mirror. But I'm still asleep, and bonfires burn, but flames are seeping through my eyes. It's a fine way to sleep all night and dream all day. Hey little sister, good God, I missed you, looking back at me when I look in the mirror. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm sitting by the window, I blow a kiss and watch it flow away. Oh, a boy said to me, L-U-V-E, but that is